Hey there, this is Amelia here. Welcome to Amelia's crossdressing story. Today we are going to share a story called Mom Caught Me in Crossdressed Part 2. By Teddy. For more interesting and exclusive stories, please subscribe to my channel and support me at Patreon. Back in my room, I dried my hair and set it with a bit of hairspray. It framed my face in soft waves, not perfect, but pretty good for a beginner. I slipped into my robe and headed downstairs for breakfast. Mom looked up as I walked in. "Good morning, Graham. How are you feeling?" "Okay, I guess." "Still getting used to everything," I said, gesturing vaguely. She chuckled. "You'll get used to it. Trust me." She placed a plate of soft-boiled eggs and toast soldiers in front of me and smiled. "Eat up. You've got a big day ahead." "I can tell," I said, grinning. "You've had more practice at this than me." That earned me a light smack on the back of my head. I almost complained about my hair but decided not to push my luck. After breakfast, I loaded the dishwasher, then followed Mom to her room, where she had her dresser set up for both of us. She pointed to the drawers. "Okay, memory test. Which side is mine?" "Left." "And yours?" "Right." "Correct. Now, where's your foundation?" I scanned the labels and picked up a tube that clearly said foundation. "This one?" Her smile confirmed I'd nailed it. What followed was my first real solo attempt at makeup, guided carefully by Mom, of course. She talked me through each step, sometimes correcting me just before I made a mistake. Somehow, it all started to come together. When I finally applied the lip gloss, I looked into the mirror. The reflection showed someone elegant. Confident. Soft shades of blue around my eyes made them pop, with a gentle gradient from light to dark. A hint of blush gave my face a healthy glow. My lips were tinted just enough to complete the look. "I look good," I said softly, amazed. Mom nodded, proud. "With practice, you'll be able to do this in half the time. Maybe less." I returned to my room to get dressed. First came the blouse, dark blue, smooth to the touch. Later, I'd learn it was satin. Then came the skirt. On the hanger, it had looked knee-length. But as I stepped into it and adjusted it at the waist. As I pulled it up around my waist, I realized it was above the knee. It wasn't particularly short, but it had a nice shape and a gentle flare that I liked. I checked myself out in the bedroom mirror and couldn't resist doing a quick twirl. That's when I heard someone laugh. I turned and saw my mom standing in the doorway. "How do I look?" I asked. "Like my daughter," she said with a smile. A little while later, we were driving to a shopping center on the edge of town, far enough from home that we were less likely to run into anyone we knew. Leaving the house like this for the first time was the most nerve-wracking thing I had ever done. I stood in the hallway wearing a black leather jacket that Mom had picked out. It had a stylish, feminine cut. She handed me one of her handbags, she had plenty to spare. Inside, she had packed my phone, some money, a small purse, a hairbrush, compact mirror, and some makeup essentials, just in case I needed to touch up during the day. I waited while she went out to start the car. Then, after taking a deep breath, I slipped on a pair of dark sunglasses and quietly stepped outside, closing the door behind me. I quickly made my way to the car, got in with my knees together like she showed me, placed the bag on my lap, and tried to shrink into the seat. "Seatbelt," Mom said. "And no hiding." She gently took the glasses off my face. "Sit up straight and be confident." I did my best, though my nerves were all over the place. After all, I was a boy wearing a skirt, a blouse, and makeup, trying to present myself as a girl. And now I was out in the real world. Well, technically in a car, but still. As we drove away from the neighborhood, my anxiety slowly started to ease. There was still a chance someone might recognize my mom and wonder who the young girl with her was, but with each passing minute, I began to feel a little braver. I sat up and looked out the window, watching other cars, wondering about the people in them and where they might be going. When we reached the shopping center, Mom pulled into a space close to the entrance. She parked, pulled the handbrake, and turned to me. "You ready?" she asked. No. I wasn't ready. I was terrified. Part of me wished I could go back in time to when all of this was just a secret I kept to myself. I looked at the entrance, then back at her. "Yes," I said, even though I wasn't sure. She smiled brightly. "Let's go, then." We stepped out of the car, and she locked it behind us. As we walked toward the entrance, I saw people coming and going, but no one really paid us any attention. Everyone seemed caught up in their own lives. Walking beside my mom, I hesitated at the entrance. There were so many people, too many. But then, she reached out and gently took my hand. That one small gesture gave me a boost of courage. I let go a few steps in. "Where to first?" I asked. Mom smiled again, warmly. "Essentials first, then we can browse. Business before pleasure." We spent the first hour shopping for necessities, more clothes, makeup, and a few pairs of shoes, 2 flats and 1 pair of white heels that Mom said needed a matching dress. After loading our bags into the car, we returned to the center for round 2, this time, just browsing. We admired dresses in the windows and tried a few on. The first time Mom suggested I try on a dress, I nearly had a meltdown. But Mom calmed me down, and eventually, I stepped into the changing room and tried it on. The dress was white, with a hemline that fell just above my knees and delicate lace sleeves. It was absolutely adorable. I took off the blouse and skirt I had on and carefully slipped into the dress, managing to zip it up by myself. The look on Mom's face said it all. She was proud. She commented on how well it suited me and, after checking the price, agreed to buy it. We saw the same dress in black and added it to a wish list for later. Even though I was nervous, Mom pressed some cash into my hand and encouraged me to go through the checkout myself. I walked up to the young saleswoman at the counter, my stomach flipping. I was convinced she'd instantly figure me out, maybe even react negatively. Instead, she gave me a kind smile, scanned the dress, folded it neatly, and placed it into a shopping bag. She handed me my change with a cheerful grin, and what she said next sent a wave of reassurance through me. "There you go, Mississippi. Hope your boyfriend loves it." I walked away feeling like I was floating. There was one more place Mom wanted to visit before we left. She guided me toward a well-known lingerie store, and I hesitated as we stepped inside. My cheeks flushed bright red. It felt strange to be surrounded by all the delicate and pretty undergarments. "You need something nice to match," Mom said with a mischievous grin. "Look for something you like. Maybe something with a little elegance, something classic." She steered me toward a display of coordinated sets. One particular set caught my eye. It was black, with a beautifully detailed silver and gold pattern on the bra and matching bottoms. The coordinating piece had decorative straps and subtle bow accents. It was definitely more than I expected to spend, but Mom gave me the nod of approval. We also picked out 3 pairs of tights, 2 were sheer and simple, and the third had a fun diamond pattern. All 3 had a vintage-style seam along the back. To spare me the awkwardness at the counter, Mom kindly paid for everything herself while I waited just outside the store. Once she joined me again, she placed the shopping bag in my hands with a smile. We decided to grab a coffee before heading home. I was feeling more confident now, my posture more relaxed, my gestures more natural. It felt good. It felt right. But, of course, that's when things took a sudden turn. "Amelia? Amelia." We had just reached the fountain by the entrance when a voice interrupted our conversation. Mom turned and was immediately pulled into a big hug. She looked startled, even a little flustered, but once she recognized who it was, her face lit up with a huge smile and she returned the hug warmly. "Luna! It's been so long, how are you?" Her name was Luna Whitley. Tall, stylish, dressed in pale blue jeans, a white top, and a black leather jacket. She had been our next-door neighbor until about a year and a half ago, when she and her son, Alan, who was about a year older than me, moved in with her partner. Mom and Luna had been incredibly close back then, practically inseparable. It was odd they had lost touch, considering how much time they used to spend together. Luna was a few years younger than my mom, but they had so much in common that they could have been sisters. Alan and I got along pretty well too. We used to ride bikes and hang out together after school. Alan and I used to play games together and walk in the park. Naturally, I looked around for him, but he wasn't there. Instead, standing off to the side, was a tall young woman with her head lowered, a curtain of golden hair covering her face. She wore a pale blue skirt, a white blouse, black tights, and matching heels. Like Luna, she also had on a leather jacket, though hers was white and styled like a biker's. She seemed nervous, maybe even shy. "Oh my gosh, Amelia, you haven't changed a bit," Luna said brightly. "Well, maybe around the waist," Mom replied with a smirk. "Nonsense." Luna laughed. "If anything, you've lost a little weight." They caught up quickly, exchanging smiles and warm compliments. "So, how are things with Dylan?" Luna asked casually. "Yes, Dylan," Mom said, sounding slightly flustered. "We're good. He just proposed, actually." She held out her hand, and Luna gasped. The ring sparkled, a large diamond set between two pearls. "That must have cost a fortune," Mom said. "He's been saving for ages," Luna shrugged. "We're planning the wedding now." They both smiled, clearly happy to be reconnecting. "Oh, we definitely need to catch up properly. Here, let me give you my number." Luna dug through her purse to find her phone while Mom glanced nervously in my direction. Luna followed her gaze, and saw me. I was still looking at her when she got a good look at my face. I quickly looked away, pretending to be interested in a nearby store. "Amelia," Luna said softly. "Is this who I think it is?" Mom hesitated. "This is my daughter. Graham." "Your daughter?" Luna repeated, blinking. I turned to face her. She studied me for a moment with a curious expression, then gave a casual shrug and smiled. "Well, hello, Graham. My, how you've grown. You're very pretty." I blushed. "Thank you, Auntie Luna." Luna's smile widened, and she turned to the girl who had been lingering nearby, clearly trying not to be noticed. "Let me introduce you to my daughter." The girl looked like she might make a run for it, but Luna gently held her by the shoulder and guided her forward. "This is Haley. Say hello, Haley." The young woman lifted her head, and I stared at her, confused. Luna had a son. Alan. So who was? Wait a second. Haley's eyes widened at the same time as mine. Recognition hit us both. Haley looked from me to my mom, her posture slowly becoming more confident. "Hi, Auntie Amelia," she said softly. Then, turning to me, "Hi, Graham." I stared at her, struggling to process everything. But then common sense kicked in, and I managed to stop my jaw from hanging open. After taking a moment to think, I responded. "Hello, Haley. It's nice to meet you." Haley looked relieved. She tucked her hair behind her ear and stood a little taller. "It's nice to see you again," she said. There was an awkward silence. I'm not sure what the others were thinking, but one word echoed loudly in my head, awkward. Then Luna, ever the problem solver, suddenly lit up. "Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we split up for a bit?" "Split up?" Mom asked. "There's a coffee shop just down that way, and a McDonald's on the upper level. You and I can grab a coffee and catch up, and the girls can go grab a bite and reconnect. Then we all meet back here in an hour. Sound good?" Mom hesitated, then smiled. "I think that sounds lovely. What do you think, girls?" I thought it sounded absolutely wild, and judging by Haley's expression, she agreed. But then she glanced at me and gave a small, nervous smile. Her change in expression told me she was trying to stay positive. "I think that's a great idea," she said. What about you, Graham? I was about to say something, but Mom jumped in before I could. Perfect. We'll see you in an hour. I wanted to protest, I hadn't exactly agreed, but Haley gently slipped her arm through mine. Come on, Graham. I think we've got a lot to talk about. From that point, the next few minutes were a blur. Haley led me up through the shopping center, arm in arm, while my mind spun in a dozen directions at once. So much had happened, too much to fully process. And with every new thought came more questions. Questions I wasn't sure I was ready to answer. Whoever said ignorance is bliss really wasn't kidding. That's all for now. See you in the next video. For more interesting stories, please subscribe to our channel, and for exclusive content, please join us on Patreon. Link in the comment.